there was just lots of shooting, and Dennis said that he had been shot, and then by the time I got out of the car, he was on the ground.
And we begin at 5 with a witness to tragedy. We are hearing from the partner of a Portland area man who was gunned down in what detectives are calling a case of road rage. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm David Molko. The gunfire erupting along Highway 18 between the coast and McMinnville, and tonight police are searching for that shooter. Mike Benner joins us from the Oregon State Police Department. And Mike, this seems absolutely terrifying.
It is awful, David. This is the last thing you'd expect to happen during a leisurely drive from the coast to Portland. We can tell you that detectives with the Oregon State Police are teaming up with detectives from the Polk County Major Crimes Team to track down the gunman who killed Dennis Anderson, a father and life partner.
And I don't know if I fully come to terms with the idea that he's not coming home.
Brandy Goldsberry is in disbelief over the shooting death of her partner of nearly 2 decades, Dennis Anderson.
Everybody keeps saying road rage, but road rage is that you would think just someone yelling at each other and doing something instantaneously. They pulled over and they waited for us to pass and started following us. It feels like premeditated.
That's why Brandy is afraid to show her face on camera. She fears retaliation from the gunman who took Dennis's life. It happened last Wednesday night on Highway 18, just west of Grand Ronde. Brandy says she and Dennis were driving from the coast to Portland when the driver behind them got angry and passed them. Brandy thought that was the end of it until she spotted the car pulled over a few miles ahead. She says when she and Dennis passed, the car pulled out behind them.
They were driving up on the back of us really close, driving into oncoming traffic and trying to veer towards us, like trying to send us into the forest.
Brandy says she and Dennis were scared, and they decided to pull over and call 911.
Dennis pulled over, and he stepped out of the vehicle, and the car pulled up parallel to us and just started shooting. And I was in my seatbelt. I couldn't get out of my seat, fast enough, and there was just lots of shooting.
Not one bullet hit Brandy. Dennis, however, was shot and killed in what Brandy's calling a senseless act of violence.
They need to realize what they did and how they affected not only me and my family, but our community.
Detectives released 2 photos of the suspect vehicle. It's described as black with some sort of round emblem on the hood. Brandy's hoping somebody recognizes the car and calls police.
What happened, I don't want it to happen again. I feel like these people will do something like this again.
As you can imagine, a lot of expenses will come up in the wake of Dennis's death. The GoFundMe has been set up to help with that. You can find a link to that fundraiser on our website, kgw.com. David.
Mike Benner reporting tonight. Thank you, Mike. And speaking of gun violence, Portland was once again hit hard this weekend. 4 people were killed in multiple shootings across the city. The first was Friday evening off Southeast 124th and Powell. 1 person died there. Then in the Boise neighborhood on Saturday, a 2nd person was shot dead. And the most recent fatal shooting yesterday morning at Southeast 26th and Belmont, a man and a woman both died. Anyone with information about any of these shootings should contact Portland police. And meanwhile, a new report released by Portland's mayor shows a drastic increase in shootings in the city over the past few years. The California Partnership for Safe Communities, which researches and consults with cities, put this together. The report found Portland went from 36 homicides in 2019 to 57 in 2020 and then 88 last year. That organization also found a 241% increase in non-deadly shootings. We have more details on that report's findings there at kgw.com. Well, to another story we're following closely this evening. 2 young adults are dead after police say they were shot at a Vancouver house party over the weekend. Let's bring in Galen Etlin, who sat down with the police chief this afternoon. Galen.
Yes, and David, he says his detectives have been working around the clock in this case. Here's what we know so far. The shooting was around 1:20 Sunday morning near East 11th and Nob Hill Drive. Police say this was a college going away party with about 50 people there, and bullets hit 4 people. 1 person died at the scene. Another died after arriving to the hospital. 2 others were seriously hurt. Now, police did not have exact ages for everyone involved, but said the victims range between 17 and 20 years old. Jeff Morey is the new police chief, but has been in this community for years.
My heart goes out to those families. It's a loss not just for them, but it's a loss for our entire community. Hopefully we will find the solution for this.
Vancouver police so far have not made arrests in this case, and Chief Morey emphasized to me that there's always someone out there who can help solve these crimes. Anyone with information is asked to come forward for the sake of those grieving families. David?
A lot of questions tonight. Thank you, Galen. And developing tonight, Oregon officials are asking for help tracking down a missing child who may be at risk. The Department of Human Services says 4-year-old Noelle Applegate went missing with her mother, Shauna McAvoy, last Friday in Portland. Now, they believe the mother and daughter are still in the Portland area. Officials say they spend time around the homeless camp near the New Seasons in the Hawthorne neighborhood. They may also be with a man named Paul Simon. Now, Noelle has blonde hair, blue eyes, and may have bruises on her elbows and knees. If you have information, call 911 or the Child Abuse Hotline. That is the number, 855-503-SAFE. 4 apartments have been damaged, but nobody hurt following an apartment fire this afternoon. That blaze broke out at the Hazelwood Manor Apartments on Southeast 26th and Division. Now, at one point, 55 firefighters were battling these flames. The fire spread to 2 floors and then an attic, and it appears it was sparked by a candle.
I'm feeling really good that no one was hurt in this fire. There was a lot of potential here, a lot of danger, and so it's a real success that no one was hurt, and that we actually rescued an animal as well. So while it's a hard thing for those residents to deal with, to have to be displaced, we definitely would rather that than someone lose their life.
The power of teamwork, all those firefighters as well. The rescued animal you just heard them mention was the cat right there in the firefighters' arms. It was in one of those apartments that was burning, but thankfully that cat is doing okay as well. Well, it was an ugly and politically motivated brawl outside a Northeast Portland cider pub, and 3 years later, all of this violence is at the center of a trial that is just getting underway. Our Christine Pitawanich was in court today. Christine, police say that brawl turned into a riot and then resulted in some very significant injuries.
Yeah, David, today at the Multnomah County Courthouse, 3 people affiliated with the Vancouver-based group Patriot Prayer had their day in court, facing charges of felony riot.
In a Multnomah County courtroom, Joey Gibson, Mackenzie Lewis, and Russell Schultz had their first day of trial. All are defendants in the case and are affiliated with the group Patriot Prayer, a right-wing group based out of Vancouver. They are being charged with felony riot in connection to a brawl that broke out at Cider Riot, a Northeast Portland pub, back in 2019. It involved members of Patriot Prayer and people with the group Antifa.
You'll see Russell Schultz standing shoulder to shoulder with Mr. Gibson as Mr. Lewis is throwing projectiles back into that group of people.
During opening statements, prosecutors showed jurors videos.
Look, it's Antifa Communist Bar, Cider Riot, downtown Portland. Look it up. But are they going to do anything? That's the question. Do something. Do something. Oh, they took the bait. Oh, no.
That's Joey Gibson, the man who heads up Patriot Prayer, a group that has hosted rallies in Portland that have attracted white supremacists and white nationalists and have at times broken out in violence. Gibson's lawyer says Gibson was standing on a public sidewalk and, after being spat on, kicked, and slashed at with a knife, didn't act out violently, but instead told people to leave and put weapons away.
Hey, stop! If they want to fight, we won't get involved. Don't hit him with that, okay? Don't hit him with that, okay? No one jump in!
During all this, a woman was hit in the back of her neck. The state brought that woman, Heather Clark, to the stand.
Lost complete control of my body. Felt like this electric shock go through my body. I became unconscious. I honestly thought I had died.
Meantime, the defense shared video of Gibson's reaction in the moments right after.
What are you doing? What's your deal? Why'd you do that? She's just a girl. It's not okay. She didn't do anything to you, man.
The trial is expected to last all week, but we'll be sure to keep tabs on it and give you updates when they occur. David?
A lot of video evidence there. Thank you, Christine.